I think he has issues with his laptop.
There is some sound. Do you all hear it?
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
It's
just
in the
stop
yogic. It's in the yoga asana. They call it Brahmari.
Yes, yes.
It's like the laptop is doing Brahmari. He has issues with his laptop.
There is some sound. Do you all hear it?
No, I'm not able to hear that sound.
Okay.
I could hear Tina, but I think it just stopped.
Asana, they call it Brahmari.
Okay. Good evening, friends. Kushal Jain here, and
Laptop is doing Brahmari.
yeah.
Kushal sir, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. And
Do you all hear it?
No, I'm not able to hear that sound.
It's repeating.
I heard Tina, but I think it just stopped.
Tina, there is a echo from your side. Good evening, friends. Kushal Jain here, and
Now it has started. Now it is stopped. Okay. Again.
Sanjay sir, you're having some problem.
We should all mute, I think. And see.
Hello?
Yes, absolutely.
everyone able to hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so welcome to this session, Trainers Insight session number 2, and we have Bala Narasimhan, who is corporate trainer as well, and she has a training experience of more than 20 plus years. So let's invite her, and so today's topic is Kolbs Learning Style, and she would be getting into more details. And if you have done the exercise or not done the exercise, we'll go through it today. And also this, what we are doing, it's getting live stream on YouTube, my channel. Okay, so in future we'll keep that so that everyone also get promoted directly, indirectly. I'll be keep updating. Also, I'll be putting the link of everyone who is the trainer so that they also get more likes and on their profile, and also YouTube channel if they have. So that would indirectly they will also get benefited. Okay, so we'll start with our Bala. So over to you, Bala.
Thank you very much, Kushalji, and good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for taking time to join this session. So if I may, I'm just going to share my screen. So today's topic is about learning style. So I don't know if you understand what learning styles or learning modules are. Basically, it is about every person having a particular way of assimilating learning. So basically, as trainers, it's very important for us to understand how our participants learn. So how do we teach our participants if we don't understand how they learn? And what model of learning do we actually operate with, and how we use to improve the practice? So these two things are very important for us as trainers. So what is a learning style, basically? A learning style is described as a set of factors or behaviors and attitudes that facilitates the learning for an individual in a given situation. So a distinct, a consistent, preferred ways of perception, organizing that information and retain that information. You can take your own experience as part of the IITD curriculum. There were so many different methodologies that was used for us. There was video, there was role play, group discussion, or there was different ways in how the content was actually presented to us. And each of us liked a particular way, and we are able to get a lot more out of that particular style. So that basically becomes our style of learning, as if we are more comfortable in learning in that particular style. So how is this influenced basically? So like I said, each of us have certain tendencies towards certain way of learning, basically. So if you look at, take your own example, or you can go back to how, each of us learn. There are certain factors, personal experiences, our exposure in the past in terms of how we learned consistently, a maturity level in terms of as we went along the way that we learned, and how we developed and grew. Those things become set patterns for us, and we become comfortable in them, and we start learning in them in a particular way. It starts off basically from your early years of learning, which is your school, perhaps your college, or that kind of learning environment that we were there. So basically, there are so many learning models that we have. and some of them that are listed here, but there are 70 plus learning modules that are available. But apparently the one that is most commonly used is the Kolbs Learning Style Inventory. And I'm going to share a little bit about what this Kolbs Learning Style Inventory. So if you remember a little earlier before we joined, we were talking about the Mayer-Stack indicator, the Herman brain dominance. Likewise, there are so many different styles. But when you talk about learning and you talk about teaching, etc., but the one that people felt more comfortable was the Kolbs, David Kolbs experiential learning theory, it is called. So who is this person? So first, before we understand what his learning theory is, it's important that we understand who this person is. He was born in 1939. He's an education theorist, American education theorist, and he's the founder of the experience-based learning system. And according to him, the learning is a process whereby the knowledge is created through transformation of experience. So now that's very important, as and when we actually create modules, the experience that we put it all together for a participant is important, and that's when the learning happens. The knowledge results from the combination of grasping that experience and transforming. And the whole crux of his whole learning model is based on this very important quote of his. So it's very important that you understand why he says it. So the grasping of the experience and transforming. So he says when we go through an activity, we think about it, we experience it, and then the learning that happens is that how we reflect about that activity, and that's how the learning practically happens. So Kolbs theory, what is it about? It gives you an understanding in terms of the educational settings in life, how we learn, etc. It is 4 spaces, so he divides it into 4 spaces. And also in terms of how, if we are a particular type, how can we enhance another type, be it an adult or a child, basically. So that's how his thing, and his theory was based, if you heard of Carl Jung, he's a psychiatrist, very famous psychiatrist, and Carl Rogers, these two people have written a lot in the field of psychology and psychiatry, basically. So he based his whole theory based on these 2 research that he did on the work of these 2 psychiatrists. Now, if you look at the 4 quadrants that I was talking about, so Kolbs theory basically puts the whole learning in 4 quadrants, which is the concrete experience, the reflective observation, the abstract conceptualization, and the active experimentation. So he says that when you engage in an activity, when you're getting into it, there is one part of your experience. Then you reflect about the activity as you're going through. So you can imagine any of the activities that we went through in the IITD curriculum that we went through. So you're reflecting about the activity, and then you gain some knowledge. In a group activity, there are different perspectives that come, and then you gain some knowledge and then something that you learn from the activity. And after that, what happens is how you actually start testing that skill. So you apply that particular thing. So where did we do the whole thing? There is a particular concept taught to us. Then we apply that concept through an activity. And after an activity, we look at how I can now take this back and apply it elsewhere. So there are so many things that we have learned from our number of months, and we have applied a number of, and in fact, we're even applying it right now as we are speaking now. So learning styles, they influence our behavior, our personality, education in terms of a knowledge base, etc., career, and our abilities, and which is the very example of what the IITD whole training was about. So a behavior in terms of how we come across, how we teach, a personality, there's so many of us who have made changes to our personality, how we come across, our knowledge base is increased, and we have chosen this as a profession or a serious about a profession, and our abilities as we learn and engage a little more are going to be increased. So basically the questionnaire that we did, if you have done it, I'd like to do the annotate and see if each of us can plot a questionnaire. So this is how you plot. So after you answer the 12 questions that I gave you, so we can look at plotting it here. So is there anybody who's not done the questionnaire, or anybody who has wants to take a couple of minutes now to do the questionnaire? I'm fine with that, because the whole thing about this is about how we can try and plot this here in terms of the scores that you have got, and how we can further take that and divide and minus the the options that they've given you there, and then it gives you an understanding of where you are in these 4 quadrants. So is there anybody who wants to share the scores? I can open the annotate if you want to just quickly mark your scores. You want me to do that?
Bala, I have a question.
Yes, Lily.
In your x-axis, y-axis, the 0 is not in the center. You have, kind of put it on the right or on the top. Is there a reason to do that?
Yeah, that's how it is actually. That's how the scale is for this particular thing was given.
Bala, for convenience, can I share my score?
Absolutely. Do you want to share your screen or do you want to just give it to me so I can
I will give you a square score.
Or I can open the annotate if you want to just go and plot it in there. So each one, if you can do it, then we can see a consolidated, thing in terms of where each of you start. That is one. And even if you have done it and you want to plot it on your accommodator, diverger, and converger, it will be great. So we can see as an IITD batch or the number of people that are present in this particular session, we can look at how many different styles are actually emerging from this whole exercise. So is the annotate open? Can somebody test it and tell me if it's working? If you want to.
No, annotate is not open. Your screen is open.
Okay. So Kushalji, is the annotate? I think it is open, right?
It is
You're
Bala.
on
You have to
mute.
share that. Annote.
Okay.
You have to stop your screen, then you have to open the annote.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No, everyone can do this on this itself. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do
annotate, I
it.
think. Yeah, go ahead and do it. I'd like to see how these styles are emerging. Can somebody start trying? Yes?
I have a question. How do you do that? I have made my results have come, but which
Okay.
is concentrate, reflective, abstract,
Okay.
or active? How do I know?
Okay. Each of the scores. So your concentrate experience will come here. Your reflective observation will come here. Your active experimentation will come here. And the next one will come here. I mean, 4, you go like this, like this. Start off from here.
Can we plot here? I mean, what is the tool you use to draw here?
Annotate. So you just go and use the annotate and plug in your, just draw it. Like for example, give
Where
me
do you
one.
get annotate?
When you just scroll up.
Top view option. Click on view option.
Okay.
Then click on annotate.
Annotate, yeah.
Annotate. And
Annotate. Then you see options. So you just take something and plot it.
Okay.
Can somebody start? Narendraji, do you want to start?
No, I can't.
Okay.
Forgive me, I don't know the technology of.
I have got
doing
that
it.
annotate. Now I should use what?
If you can do
mouse
for
or
me,
what?
I will give you score.
yeah, mouse. Okay.
Mouse, huh?
Bala, if
Okay,
you
shall
can
I
help
try?
me, I will give you score so you can plot.
Yes, please tell me your CE.
Column 1, 37.
So 37 comes perhaps here. And then your reflective thing.
Column 2 is 25.
25 comes here.
Column 3 is 25.
Column 3 is also 25.
25.
Okay.
Column 4 is 31.
31. So it comes perhaps somewhere 28, 29, 30, 31. So if you see, I'm sorry, my drawing is a little bad. 25. I should ideally be straight lines, but if you
Yeah.
see a kite, you can see a kite.
I did a straight line and it looks same.
Yeah, but mine is unfortunately not very straight. So, but please, it is a kite. Okay.
So again, when we came on this plotting this one,
Okay. Where is it?
x-axis was, y-axis was minus 12,
Okay.
x-axis was 6.
So you're somewhere here, right?
Yeah,
Accommodator?
exactly.
Yeah.
It came like that.
Okay.
Accommodation.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So you guys, did you see how you can plot your graph?
Bala, can you do mine also? I'll tell you my scores.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tell me.
So my first column CE is 14. Or you want the x-axis, y-axis, or you want the 4 scores?
Give me the
first?
CE first. Give me the CE. So everybody will see how it's done. CE.
Yeah, the
Then.
column 1 CE is 14, 1, 4.
Okay. Okay.
Column 2 is 39.
39 should be somewhere here.
You
Okay.
can use a different color.
Yeah, I'm
Column
using
3.
red. I'm using
Okay.
red.
Okay, column 3 is 44.
44 should be. Oh my God, you're going beyond. 1 minute. 44. Oh,
And column 4 is 23.
1 minute. What is my mouse? Okay, 44 and this is 23. You said?
Yeah, 23.
Okay, let's say somewhere here. So first one was. I'm sorry. What was it?
First
14.
was 14.
14. Oh,
Narendra sir remembers.
oh, sorry. Okay. This is
14,
yeah.
39,
Okay.
44, and
23.
23.
Okay, ignore this particular bit, but yours is the lower part. You're more into abstract conceptualizing, much more of abstract conceptualizing. Okay, give me the other score. Yeah, give me the other score.
My x-axis is minus 16.
Minus 16.
X-axis is minus 16.
Okay,
And y-axis is 30.
30.
Yeah.
You're also an accommodator?
No, it will be assimilator. Y is 30, x is 16.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay.
Minus
30.
16.
Okay, minus 16 here.
Yeah.
So you're here.
Diametrically opposite to accommodator.
Okay. So you're getting an idea of how these things are done. So if we see more scores, wonderful, somebody is already doing. It will be great to see how our own.
I am not able to do it, Bala.
Yes, somebody give me the scores. I can help you.
Okay.
I understood the concept of diagonally opposite to Narendra sir. I'll tell you why. His name is Narendra Naik and Lily ma'am's name is Lily Sarkar. So it is Narendra Sarkar. Diagonally.
Good one. Good one, Rajesh.
So somebody.
Rajesh should be given an Oscar.
Yeah, totally.
Finding words and their connections.
We should come up with another model, perhaps. The person who marked the blue, can you give me your...
Who is this blue? Who is this blue?
Fine, Kushal Jain here.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
Kushal
Kushalji.
Kushal, do x-axis, y-axis now.
Yeah, just do x-axis, y-axis also. I'd like to see. Guys,
I don't know how to do x-axis, y-axis. How do I do it?
I'll help you. What is your score? You tell me. I can mark it for you.
Yes. C first is 28.
Minus or plus?
No, I don't know how to arrive
No,
that.
first four, it won't be minus plus. No, the first 4 scores are all plus.
No, not necessarily. When you do the C minus RO and the this thing minus thing,
No,
it might.
he's giving the first 4 scores. He's not doing
Oh, 4 scores. Oh, okay. First 4 scores. What is the first one? I'll change the color.
28.
Okay, what do I put? So not green. Green is used. I'll do a yellow. 28, right?
Yeah.
So 28 should be here. Okay.
35.
35 should be here.
30.
Should be here.
29.
29, 28, 29. So first one was what? I'm sorry, 25, right?
Yeah.
I take it down to here.
35.
Yeah. Then
30.
30, and then to 29.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry for the
No problem.
lousy artwork, but this is what it looks like. Your height, and then your yeah, totally very modern. Okay, what is your this thing in terms of accommodator, diverger, converger?
I have to find out. AC. What is AC?
AC is
Third column.
Third column. Abstract.
Third column minus first column is your y-axis.
Yeah, so really, basically, you're amazing.
I am a diverger.
It is true.
What did you say? Sorry.
Your responses is so much. No wonder your abstract conceptualization is pretty high because you're an assimilator. So, sir, what is the first one? Then you
What is
minus
RO? reflective observation.
Yes,
That is
reflective. Yeah.
minus
Actually, it would be wonderful if all of you shared or did a thing on your style. So we'll see in this whole group how many accommodators. There's no good and bad in any of these styles. It's just a
Bala,
style.
take my score.
Yes. Who's this?
Dhanesh here.
Yes, Dennis. Tell me, sir.
33.
This is your, which is all the 4 scores you're giving me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll change the color. Okay, 33.
Otherwise, yeah. 33, 45.
33, 1 minute. Somewhere here. Okay, 45 is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
24.
24. Okay.
And 18.
And 18. So, sir, here, then you come in here. I'm sorry for the, I'm sorry, here, sorry. Here, and then here. The pink is basically yours. Then we look at your accommodator. What are your scores on this side?
-9 and -27.
Minus
X-axis, Y-axis is -9.
-9 should be somewhere here. Okay. And minus
27.
beyond. This is okay. 27 is it? Okay. No minus, right?
It is minus only.
Oh, minus 27 and -9 is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you are a diverger. Goes beyond here.
Yeah, I'm also coming to diverger only.
Diverger.
It's 2 axis, y-axis is 2 and x-axis is -6.
Y-axis is 2, -2 is it?
No, +2.
Okay.
X-axis is -6.
-6. -6. 2 and -6, right?
Yes.
I think you're an accommodator.
-6 is in diverger side.
See, this whole thing quadrant is minus.
Vishal is converger.
No, it is coming this side.
It's coming under converger?
Yes.
Diverger.
No,
Just come
converger.
on the right side. No, minus is on the right side.
Minus, this whole thing is minus. Diverger is minus.
Yeah.
So
Minus come in the
See, y-axis is positive +2. X-axis is -6.
-6 is this side.
Yeah, diverger.
-6 is this side. So you should be here, -6 and 6, right? So
Yes.
let's
-6 and 2.
and +2.
+2. 2.
-6 is here, as in here, and 2.
No. Y-axis is 2. Positive 2.
Positive 2. That is here somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
right side.
-6. Minus
Right side,
Given
right
on the
side.
right side.
Right side.
2
After
is
5.
given on the right side.
After
both-
5.
After 5. Yeah, but
After
these
5.
after 5. This whole column is minus actually.
Yeah.
Whole diverger is minus. And this is the other thing. So when you say 6 is here, plain 6, not minus, right?
Yes.
No, Bala. You can see in diverger, it starts from +5 to
Here.
0. No, here. It should be 2 here.
+5 minus.
On the right side.
Right
Okay,
side.
here. Yeah.
2.
This 2.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, why don't one of you mark it? No problem.
I'll do that. Wait. I'll do that.
2 is
That
between the
is
3 and 1 of y.
Yeah, 3 and 1 there. Yeah.
He is a diverger.
He's a diverger. But that side completely is minus and minus.
No, you have what you have marked is 5, 2, 0, -1, -2, -5 like that.
This is my color. This is what right now.
Okay.
Which one?
Wonderful.
अभी जो लगाया पर्पल कलर में.
Purple color, but
Purple नहीं, वो red color.
Lal wala. Yeah.
No, sir, you have marked.
On
You
side,
said
on
x-axis is 2.
Yes, x-axis is 2. Y-axis is 2. This is y-axis, na? This is
Yeah.
x-axis.
No, this is negative. This is both are negative.
Negative.
Why are
You are
negative?
on the other side.
You
Because
have to
see,
be
if you
other
take,
side.
yeah, because if you're playing 2 and a minus, then your profile will come either up or down depending on the number that you actually get as a score.
So what Bala has marked is correct. Accommodator.
I think you're an accommodator.
Yes.
But then
It
you
is
can
minus 6. Minus 6.
So minus 6
Plus
is
2 minus 6.
Correct. Left side only, bhai. Accommodator.
this is, see, this is axis is completely minus, this whole axis.
Yeah.
And this is all plus. This is plus. This is minus.
Correct. Now,
Look
if
at-
you go towards accommodator, it is plus. Correct? That is x-axis.
Yeah.
I am minus 6. So what I
Bala,
have
the
marked is
horizontal line is the x-axis and the vertical line is the y-axis, right?
yes. Vertical line is 2. Horizontal line is minus 6.
Horizontal line, sir, you said that the x-axis is you said x-axis is 2.
Y-axis
is minus 6.
Y-axis is 2. X-axis is minus 6.
Yes, he has marked it rightly and he is a diverger.
Okay. Yeah, correct. No. Yeah, correct. Okay. Diverger.
Now, what is diverger?
That we will explain you.
There is a description of diverger.
Even I am waiting for converger.
There is a description of
Conversion.
diverger in the last page.
Our Bala will take care all this.
Let me tell you.
I think Bala.
Pradhan sir, namaste.
I think Bala got logged out.
No, she is here only.
Sorry, I had a power failure.
Okay, great.
What I was sharing is give me a moment.
So yeah, maybe you can share this one, no, the document itself directly, and maybe.
Absolutely. So basically, I think you got an idea, and you know how it is plotted, etc. What the a questionnaire that I actually shared has he's got all the scale and everything. So actually, if you scroll down, you'll see the questionnaire with all these things. So you can go in and try it again. And on your own again and plot your scores. And the whole idea of doing it in the class was that to get an idea of the different styles that each of us have. And as a team, you could understand how many accommodators, convergers, divergers.
We're doing it again, is it?
Bala, you're stuck.
Maybe network issue.
Yeah.
Bala, you're there? She'll join. Okay, in meantime, you can do if you want to do the activity again.
Kushal, do we have to do it again, is it?
Yeah, if you want, your choice.
But we did it already, no?
Yeah,
The
we
screen is
did it.
locked.
Okay. Anybody else who has not done can do it.
Okay, she's joining back. So,
Where are
yeah.
my scores?
Yeah, so how many of you have gone through the whole document?
I've done it.
Rajesh has
इसका
gone
दो
through
दो आता
twice.
है दो
I've
बार
done it
किया
too.
क्या 2 times. Good.
because first time समझ नहीं आया.
So I'll just open the attached.
मुझे भी नहीं आया.
Do the screen share again, so people can get this. Okay, this is the document. You're able to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
if you see here, so these are the questions. So how we are arriving to that? See, the first is this is the I'll share. See, the first one, what we are talking about, this is concrete experiences. First one, this first column. Second column is reflective observation. Third column is abstract conceptualization, and fourth one is active experimentation. So how it arrives is like you need to number it. So whatever is the least, you have to put 1 and next is 2. So that means if you go reverse way, which is the best one or top best one which you think you are good at, that you can put it as score as 4, and then you reduce it 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you total up the whole as a column wise. Okay, now when I'm doing this,
Yeah. So,
yeah, so here
so
you
the
have,
total column, basically the fourth is the highest rating. So which is much closer to how you do. For example, I learn best when I rely on my feelings, I rely on my observation, I rely on my ideas. I can try things out for myself. Which is the most closest, you will give the highest score. Which
Yeah.
is the second highest, you will give it the second. So that's how it's basically called the rating methodology. So
yes.
I prioritize it accordingly, and which is my least style, I will give it the least score. So when you do that, you add up the whole column and you get column 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when you go further down, the totals of each of these columns, see, that is column 1, which is concrete experience. So if you look at the 4 quadrants that I showed you, so we are plotting it in these 4 parts. So first we are calculating our responses in these 4 parts, what it is, and then we're putting those scores down, and that's how we did the kite, if you remember. And then after we do that, the further analysis of this question. So column 1 is concrete experience. So how do you score in terms of that particular part of learning, which is concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. So your scores in these. So further when you analyze it, and minus, so sir, if you can go a little further down on the questionnaire. So the next part is you do the kite on this. So if you see the right side top quadrant is minus 4, and right opposite this side is all the positive. So when you get these 4, you plot it like how we experimented in so many other sides. And then further down, what you do is you minus the scores. For example, you minus the AC, that is
Y-axis.
AC minus CE. So you got your 4 columns, so you minus these, and your y-axis and your x-axis. So your y-axis, you plot it. So depending on what scores you got, whether it is a minus or your plus, you put that plot, and that's how you get your style. So this won't give you a course. This one gives you a 4 quadrant profile. This will give you only in 1 quadrant. This is your dominant style of learning. It's not that others don't exist. It's just that this particular style of yours is very dominant, as in you prefer to learn much more this year. Now, what do we do when we get this? Now we have done the questionnaire, we've done the analysis. Now we understand that we are an accommodator or a diverger or a converger or an assimilator. So what do we do after this? It is like I mentioned that any of these 4 quadrants is not a good to have quadrant or not so good to have. It is just our way of learning. It is how we learn, So we are an accommodator because perhaps over a period of time in our learning, right from the school to a college to the way that we have learned, that things have been put in a certain way and we have settled in that particular way of learning, and now that has become a style of learning. Now any of these styles are not like set that we cannot change.
Shall I scroll down, or you will play the presentation?
I'll play the presentation.
Okay, I'll stop the screen share then. Yeah.
Okay. So any of these styles basically is tells you about what tendencies that you have. So if you are an accommodating person or an accommodator, you are the person who gets things done. Tendencies, some of these things that we typically do because we are so used to that style. Likewise, the other quadrants, the diverging, you are pretty more imaginative. You are very good at understanding people. You recognize problems. You are very good with brainstorming. You are more open-minded. It's not a good and a bad thing, basically. It's just that is your style right now. So now what do we do in terms of understanding? Now we have done this, we understand what styles we are, and we also understand that different people have different styles. Like you saw how many people were accommodator, diverger, converger. We have multiple styles. So each of us are very different. Now what we also will like to understand is that each of these styles have certain things that are their strengths like I mentioned, I read out a couple. There's certain things that are traps, we call them. We do not call them weaknesses. Okay? We call them traps. Now I want to even change this and make it traps, because we should not call them weaknesses. Because it is basically things that you perhaps need to be very careful about, right? That a diverger, for example, has got the imaginative ability. He is a person who thinks outside the box, a highly creative person, understands people, etc. But certain traps that he gets, sometimes what happens, he gets paralyzed by his alternatives. There's so many of these things. His ability to imagine and think so many things, he gets paralyzed sometimes. He might be a little indecisive. Now, these are not sacrosanct, and these are not things that, there are tendencies. Sometimes it might be on a higher side, sometimes it might be on a lower side. It's just things that are based on millions of profiles that they've done right across, that they have done this and they've come up with a set of strengths and traps, basically. So likewise, an assimilator or converger or an accommodator, the traps are basically things that are, which is on your slightly things that you have to be careful about, So solving the wrong problem, you might get, for converger, for example, might go ahead and keep in his jokes about trying to do something, could perhaps be doing a wrong trying to solve a wrong problem, could be a little hasty in making decisions, has got multiple thoughts, scattered thoughts. And, these are some of the traps that they actually mention of each of these styles, basically. So I'm going to give you a minute to go through this whole thing. And I'll share a lot of links. There is a lot of material available on these learning styles.
Bala madam.
Yes, sir.
Is diverger and converger. How can you define? My understanding is diverger means is trying to find out different alternatives. Converger is focusing only on one particular point. Is it right? Or
yes, see, if you look at the styles per se, a diverger is a person who has an imaginative ability, is a person who thinks outside the box. Converger is little more grounded. He's looking at the task at hand. He's a problem solver. He's a decisive person who makes decisions. He's little more thing. A diverger is a person who's out of the box thinking.
Okay.
You see people who really see patterns and things and a lot of other people don't do. So that kind of personality. So his dominant style is perhaps his imaginative ability, his ability to understand people, recognize problems. That's his tendency. He tends to do more of those things. Right. A converger is more, perhaps a little more grounded and looks at things very practical, perhaps problem solving, decisive person. If you read this thing, you can get an idea of what kind of a person they are. So this becomes over a period of time, this has become our style. It is not necessary that, that we can get stuck to this. There are ways and means to say that I'm doing a job or a role that requires me to be a diverger. So how can I do certain things and condition myself to do that so my style changes, which is something that can be done. Like I said, how do we get these styles? Because over a period of time that in school or in college or in universities that we have got used to a consistent pattern of learning. So that becomes a style. So it is a conditioned thinking that we settle in and become comfortable, and it becomes a style. So again, we can change this whole condition. It just requires a paradigm shift. It requires you to change certain things and consistently do a certain kind of things that develop that side of your learning style, and over a period of time, you can change it. Let's say typically any of these psychometric instruments close to 8 months to a year, when you consistently do things that to improve a particular style, and then you take the test again in about a year and a half, then after doing certain things deliberately for you to move from one style to another, you will definitely see a change, is what they...
Bala, can I just pitch in to quickly answer Rajan sir, if, I may, diverger and converger, to make it a little more simpler, like how we do it in school levels for teachers and students is, when we say diverger, it's more of an inductive system where from one, you are ready to branch out into many. So that's where your imaginative skills come in. And when you're converger, that means you are taking a large scale and from there you are coming into a particular thing. So you're becoming more intricate into your problem
Focused.
solving, focused, exactly. And when a diverger gets more spread out into a vaster area, just to simplify the whole thing.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
it.
but
Thank you,
then
Bala.
these strengths are different. See, if you see diverger, for example, in a context, if you're working in a research department or you're working in a lab or somewhere where it requires you to have imaginative ability, it requires you to really think outside the box, means you have to develop that if you're already in the role, or if you're looking at a role where it requires you to be more creative, because creativity and innovation is a particular process and an ability of a person to really look at that patterns that no ordinary person. That's how, patents, and that's how this, eureka moments that people have that are converted, because it requires, and it is beyond a particular level. That's why if you know people from the research or those kind of professions, their thought process is so different. It's way beyond the thing. So these are basically in terms of what your current styles are. But if you want to develop another style, you have to consistently do things that actually help you develop some of those things. So
Bala, I have a question.
Yes, Lily, tell me.
If we can stick with our style but just work on the traps, would that be also okay? Because
well, that is left to you. You're happy with your style, wonderful. I mean, there's no
changing a
mandate.
style is uphill.
No, changing a style is not a mandate. This is just awareness in terms of what I am. But the need to change a style has to be a decision that you have to make, and only if it is needed. I don't want to move into a converger. I'm very happy with my accommodative style because that's my style basically.
But Bala madam, that will change. I mean, I need to change my style according to the situation or the job what I am doing, isn't it?
Yes, you could develop. So if you have a job that requires you to get things done, requires you to take risks and brainstorming, etc., then you're in the right style. Perhaps, like Lily says, you have to focus on the little things that are traps that you have to look out for that will help you, lessen those kind of instances in your thing. So there is no mandate that I change my style. It's pretty good. If you're happy with your style and you focus on your traps, that's good enough. But I'm saying this now, unless there is a need for you to change, there's no need to change. Change is only if we want to do it. We shouldn't be forcing change on ourselves for no need. Why?
Because all the styles have got good strengths. So all the styles are good.
So again, there's no good and bad. It is just 4 quadrants, and your tendency to do something more is why you are in a particular quadrant. It could be because of your profession. See, you've been in a particular profession that you have particularly done things in a way, and that's why the style is emerging.
Yeah.
Okay.
And same wise for the other. And like I said, no style is good or bad. It is just that each of us have certain tendencies that are dominating over the other 3. That's the only thing. And there is no good and bad again in any of these things.
Right.
Small question. Suppose
Yes,
if
sir.
we do this exercise at a very frequency level, let's say 6 months once, if we are able to move out of that particular thing or that, what would that result in? What would that improvement?
One is the very this thing that you want to change your style. Why do I want to change my style? Because I have a need to change, because I'm moving into a particular environment that requires me to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perhaps requires me to be an assimilator rather than a converger. Now that also you have to be careful before you actually want to do it. So I said the need for change. Now I feel in my role I have to be doing this, but I seem to be doing this. Yes, I have to consciously make that attempt to want to do things that helps me be something a little better. So I do activities or get into assignments that helps me improve that particular learning style. And basically in terms of style, you cannot make that change that quickly, because it is a condition and it is a pattern over the years that you have developed this particular dominant style. And unless you have a focused method in terms of consciously improving or consciously looking at doing certain things because you want to move into another style, then you will do activities or get into assignments that helps you develop the style. And typically they say not 6 months, 8 months and above, because for your pattern to get for you to get conditioned to naturally do those kind of things, it takes a little time for you to get conditioned. And then typically they say over 8 months, after that you try and doing the style. In fact, I did my style a couple of times. And then I have moved because my role demanded me to be more of a accommodator and I was more on the other side. So I consciously got into activities when I was working in my organization and it moved me to the accommodator side. Likewise, when I did my MBTI, I was more ENTJ. That was, I was more working on my emotions when I initially joined. Then over a period of time, I got into doing consciously things that were more project management or more on thinking from my left brain. And then I moved from E to I. And I did my test after nine months or over a year. When I did my MBTI again, I moved. I was completely on the other side because I consciously made that attempt to do certain things that helped me move in from there. Because that was a demand for the role, and then I was given that feedback, and I constantly was doing assignments and things, and it helped me move. So like I'm saying, it's a conditioning that is required, and it's how you work on that conditioning. And typically it takes about 8 months to 1 year for you to get reconditioned, and then you will be able to change your style. And only if there is a need, perhaps, not otherwise.
But one particular role, if suppose I am in a particular role in the same organization, I am shifted to another department and the situation is different, the task is different, probably that may impact my change into my learning style.
Yes, it will impact because you're used to a particular environment and then you learn in a particular way in that environment. But you're in a new environment where the whole environment is a little different. And then perhaps requires, and the demands on the role is that you learn something in a very different way. Because people are different, the way that they impart knowledge is different. So for you to assimilate that learning, perhaps you have to imbibe another style for you to get that learning and for you to be able to impact your performance much better. So that is a need. That is again something that you have to do because there is a new situation and that requires you to do basically.
Great. Thank you.
So how can any more questions around this, or we can just have another 2 slides to share basically?
Bala ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Because you felt there was a need to change and you changed. So did it also change your personality as a person?
Not completely, because what you're trying to do is how you make that change. For example, take a reference of the learning style. So I am more of a person who was, perhaps I'll just pick one of these. So if I'm a person who is imaginative and etc., but my role, because that requires me to be more about getting things done, I'm not able to do that. Because why? My traps are because I'm paralyzed by the alternative, I'm indecisive. But if I need to do a role that is important for me to be decisive, important for me to know how to take that risk and do, my other style will not help me, right? So it is important for me to imbibe certain things and do something consciously for me to look at improving certain areas which is a requirement of my role and my job. So take any of these and then see if I have to be planning, creating models, defining problems, etc. I cannot be a diverger because a diverger is perhaps a kind of profession would be a researcher, somebody in the lab who needs to think outside the box, who needs to think of so many things, but he doesn't need to do other things like executive or administrative things like getting things done, etc. So when you look at each of these roles and what they actually entail in terms of you performing that role and what is needed for you in terms of skills, abilities and competencies for you to perform that role, then you narrow it down. So it needs a further analysis. So what you could do perhaps is look at your current role, what is expectation from that role, what are skills, abilities and competencies that is needed for you to do the role. And then look at what you have right now in terms of your style. This is only a learning style, remember. This is not about a personality. This is about your ability to assimilate information and learn. When you're looking at personality kind of thing, there are a lot of other psychometric instruments. Like I mentioned, the MBTI, the Herman Brain Dominance. Some of the free minor tests are available free on the website. I'll share the links with you. You can test it out. There's one more other, instrument which we discussed in the morning group, which is called the Strength Finder, which is an amazing psychometric instrument. Actually, all these are paid ones that you have to go in and get your report. But in this, how I came across this a couple of years ago when I bought this book, Now Believe on Your Strengths. It is a particular book, and I got a code. And when I used the code on the thing, I was able to do the test because I bought the book. So I can give you the details.
Strength Finder. Strength.
Yeah, Strength Finder. Strength Finder is again, and again, we have to be a little cautious about any of these instruments. They're not about being good or bad, or I'm on the positive side or negative side. It's only the first step to any of these is self-awareness, and that's what we're doing right now. And this is only a learning style. This is actually telling us how we learn. And also as trainers, when we go in front of a class of so many students, you should be aware that each one learns differently. So supposing somebody comes with consistent questions because you're teaching in a particular way, your ability to understand that, yes, this person is finding it a little difficult to understand the concepts because his learning style is different. Because he learns differently, that's why he's asking me, so let me try and look at packaging it differently. So it's easy for him to learn. So as traders, how does this actually help you? How can we use the learning styles? First is being aware of your own self, as what kind is my style, and being aware that there are multiple styles. So when you did that graph, you saw people in different quadrants. So it's an awareness that there are people with different styles of learning. And you also saw each of their strengths and their traps. So your ability to understand different styles. So it helps you also look at how when you're teaching something or when you're trying to impart something in terms of concepts and knowledge, how do you package it in such a way that you're catering to at least the maximum number of people, or take somebody aside who has a difficulty and try and put it with a different example so it's easy for them to assimilate that learning. That's the whole thing. So we're responsible in whatever we create in terms of our training content or in terms of how we design it, that you must understand that people learn differently, and how you structure it. How do you organize that whole activity to ensure that different people get it and everybody is able to experience it, able to reflect and get some kind of learning with the transformation that happens with the activity.
Bala madam, is it Gallup's Strength Finder?
Yes, Gallup. Gallup. Yes.
I had done that. My boss has actually purchased that book. And he
wonderful.
gave me the link and I downloaded that. Yes.
Oh, it's a beautiful one. You've done it. I have also done it. And I think in our morning batch, I think Lawrence has done it. But I'll share the link with you, but it's an amazing one. Yeah. And any of these instruments, it's a great inward journey, I would say. There's so many things you discover about yourself that you never knew, right? And yes. Again, like I said, there's no good and bad. It's just that you're aware. And then if there is a need for you and you feel you have to change, then you could looking at certain things.
Which is the book, Bala? Which is the book?
The book is now it is called, Rajan, I think it's called Now Believe Your Strengths or something.
No,
like
I saw that book, Gallup's Strength Finder.
No, Gallup is the organization that actually does this instrument. But there was a book written by these people who were part of the Gallup organization. Narendraji, I have that link. I shared it in the morning back. I'll share all the details again in the family group this time. I forget the name immediately because it was a number of years that I used to do a lot of these things. MBTI.
2018, I think I had done, I remember.
Oh, I was much earlier because I was part of the management development group and part of the learning and development. And one or two of my bosses were doing the management development training. We do a lot. We do HBDI, human brain dominance. We used to do. I'm retired now, of course. That is another amazing 4-quadrant. It's called the whole brain thinking model. Amazing one. When you see each quadrant of your brain, what it is capable of, and then when you do the test, when you understand your own strengths.
Oh. Internet issue.
I think we can request her to share the PPT also because she's sharing so many links.
Yeah.
PPT भेज देने में क्या होगा?
True.
She is going to share that link.
Called Now Discover Your Strength by Gallup.
Yeah.
There is another one called Strength Finder by Tom Rath. The one that is mentioned is Now Discover Your Strength by Gallup.
Cover your strength.
It
Now-
cost
now
about
discover
2000
your
and odd
Oh.
in Amazon.
Oh.
But one can speak with me also. I can tell their strengths free of cost.
So, but generally, I mean, like just to discuss on one is strength finder, the other one is personality building, the other one is like leadership, different kind of leadership style. So this is one is the learning style. So these are different areas of I mean, like trying to find oneself into, right?
This is
No, no, I mean, like this-
especially useful when you are preparing your training program, because one might be a diverger, one may be an accommodator. Diverger is mainly a person who is thinking out of the box. Accommodator is a person who wants an action. And assimilator is the one who is an analyzer, and converger is always focused. So if you think to satisfy all the 4 areas, then we would do a very good training program. So if we don't satisfy any of them, then we may lack in something. So if we have to think about all the 4 people.
I think Bala's back.
Sorry, guys. Unfortunately, today there have been multiple podcasts. So
sorry, and dear Shane, thank you.
You and in a colorful way. So the reason of using so many colors is that as people, we need to understand the different people, the different preferences. That's the reason I normally not so colorful in my presentation. But the whole idea is right from the beginning to get your mind trained to accepting difference. Different styles, different personalities, different preferences. Because as trainers, it's very important for us that when you see, like I said, a sea of faces, and as you get along through the program, you'll be able to recognize the different styles, different personalities. So accepting the differences and seeing how you can take advantage of that and synergizing the whole environment and the whole learning process is what we should do as trainers.
Bala, one question. I mean, like.
Sorry. Yes, please.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, like the questions are framed. This is a kind of psychometric analysis. This also.
It is a kind of psychometric. So if you see Kolbs Learning Style was based on research of 2 Swiss psychiatrists, basically, Carl Jung and Carl Rogers. And these people have done a lot of work in terms of preferences, personalities, and everything. So this
Fitz and Forsey, I heard, madam, it is Carl Jung's. He has developed that model.
Yes, Carl Jung has done some amazing work, and some of his, it's really interesting to learn. I'll share any information or articles. I normally like learning some of these, but I'll share my collection with you all as links, like the Strength Finder. And the book is amazing. That one with the Strength Finder. Gallup is an organization that does a lot of these kind of work. So based on the Strength Finder, they have, I think, researched about 25,000 executives across. That was the first time that they did right across, and they came up with this particular questionnaire that that helps you understand your different styles. I did my report basically. I can share my report if you want to take a look how a strength report is basically. I had done it a number of years ago, basically, and it tells you about certain. I'll tell you. Certain, again, these also depends on your intuitive, your this thing, your kind of this
Can I share?
that you are. Yes, absolutely. Please share. I'm off the share, I think.
Yeah.
Hello, Bala. I have a question.
Yes, please tell me.
You had mentioned that a diverger would be good for research. A researcher would typically be a diverger.
Yes, because if you look at the the tendency of learning or tendency, so if a diverger is a person whose imaginative abilities is very good, his ability to understand patterns. So when you look at a researcher, basically, what kind of skills and abilities is required for a researcher? The most important is the ability to think outside the box.
Correct.
It's called breakthrough thinking, basically.
So what are the other professions for other, maybe you could name a few professions for the other types of...
I have a link, basically. I have not put too much in this presentation because I first want everybody to understand and digest this information. But in terms of suggested professions or suggested things that they say, typically, these are the set of people who are in this kind of profession. So when you go into further, now you're looking at beyond learning style, right? Now you're not looking at just learning. Your question entails in terms of personality types, or what are my tendencies and what kind of professions do I take. So that extends beyond just a learning style. So there are a lot more instruments or a lot more this thing that you can do that can help you understand. Even there is, if you look at another one which is called the Belbin team role. Have you heard of Belbin team role? This is another one for teaming, basically. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, I couldn't find mine. Wonderful that you're sharing. So Clifton Strengths, it's called. The book is called Now You Build Your Strengths. So you see the parameters.
They have given 5 strengths, top 5 strengths. And then they have explained it. Every strength. What
Everyone, yeah.
So they have given like for responsibility. That every strength they have given description. Contentedness.
Yeah.
Harmony. Input.
Connectedness. Yes.
Yes. Connectedness. Yes.
Yeah.
Discipline.
So each of these will have a description in terms of what it comprises. So when you do those strengths, when you do this questionnaire, it will give you, in terms of these 5 parameters, where is your score. And then again, like I said, there's nothing that is good or bad or good to have or wonderful to have, but it is only that is there a need. Like I said, you are a professional. I'm very happy being an accommodator, and I love being an accommodator. I'm an accommodator profile because I feel more happy in getting things done. I am a getting things done person, basically. And I don't want to force myself otherwise into them. And there are, of course, the traps that are likewise your strength, responsibility, then there is connectedness. It depends on the role, the environment, and the need for you to do that.
Yeah.
So then based on that, like I said, you can look at changing, or you can look at developing those particular quadrants of.
So there they have mentioned that, that book says that you need to work upon your strengths more, develop them rather than looking into your areas of improvement.
Yes, because their philosophy is, weaknesses, when you look at this whole concept about strengths and weaknesses, why they call strengths? These are things that naturally comes with you and you're more comfortable. Now, if there are weaknesses, this is a different thing, okay? These are not traps and strengths like how we're talking about learning style. These are personality traits that we have, and certain parameters within our personality that is important for us to actually sustain, survive, retain in whatever environment, be your role, your family, your society, your community. There are certain things that are needed. Okay, so then when you go into your weakness, sometimes typically people say that's your weakness, go work on it. Many a time it's more natural for me, unless it is something that is little easy for you to work on, but they recommend that you first depend on your strength, because the strengths come naturally for me, and that immediately I'm so enthusiastic to do things that is my natural tendency, instead of some things that I know I can never do it. For me as a person, personally, I hate numbers. I hate mathematics, though I managed to get a scholarship in whatever scholarship in language in school, but I hate anything to do with numbers. I'm not very good at it. So I don't like to do it, but for my survival, if I have to do, there is a level to which I'll work on that weakness. I'm not going to become a financial genius and make it my strength. No, I'm not going to do that. So it depends on how and what you want to do, and make that call in terms of the need and to what extent that you work on your strengths and weaknesses. Typical.
Just one question, Bala.
Yes, Anand. Please tell me.
Yeah, you have this learning style, you have leadership style, you have strength finder, different kinds of things. I mean, like different kinds of domain,
Yes.
right? Now,
Yes.
for what purpose? Is this all these are somewhat connected, right? I mean, like in terms of if you look at
In a way.
connected.
In a way.
So, but
Yes. See,
the
look at
purposes are
learning
different.
style. Huh.
The
Yeah,
purposes are
personalities are different. Because the concept is different, the theory is different. Now, learning style is my ability to learn. How do I assimilate information? That tells me my learning style. My leadership style is certain parameters that come under the leadership competency framework as a leader. So there is a sense of risk taking, ownership, accountability. There's so many parameters within whatever model that you use. So my ability to do these things. Now, I can be a leader not necessarily only in a work environment. I can be a leader even in my own community, in my own house, and I can take leadership. I can take, I have that accountability, ownership, ability to do things and get things and make it. So that's a different quality. So leadership competencies are different. Now, if you look at the whole model in terms of what my personality is, so if you understand have you seen the iceberg model? Do you understand the iceberg model? Have you seen it anywhere? The iceberg. Are you aware?
This is related to leadership related, right?
Yes. See, there are certain things that my personality trait that comes below, which is based on my value system, based on my culture, based on my upbringing, that over a period of time becomes my personality. That's the way, and that's how I respond. Now, when I get into an environment where I have to work and where there is a demand of a particular role given to me and a requirement for me to perform at a certain level, then it is important for me to develop beyond that basic level certain skills, competencies, and look at certain abilities that needs to be honed for me to be able to perform and sustain in that particular environment as a person. So in that, it could be certain leadership styles that I have. Maybe I have to develop more. Certain learning styles that I'm doing now, like there's an example that Rajan had mentioned, that I'm moving to a new department and the whole environment and culture is different in that department. They only do things as an article. Perhaps they only give you PDF files and they say, read it up. Nobody comes and explains. Means I have to develop a different style because that's the only way I can do it to assimilate that learning. So that is a learning style, my leadership competencies. And then there is a personality thing in terms of my strengths. So each one is a different dimension, but the underlying thing in this whole thing is understanding yourself as a person, your style, your ability, your competencies, etc. So each one has a different dimension that helps you understand yourself much better.
Basically, that personalities, one thing I just want to share. I read certain articles and I found that if we try to understand the personalities, different personalities, it is easier for us to flex with them, and it is easier for us to deal with those kind of people. So conflicts and all we can reduce to a greater extent.
Yes, because you understand, like it's practicing empathy. Empathy is not sympathy. Empathy is looking at it from your perspective. So I know where you're coming from. Perhaps these are some. So as we get to know more of these different personalities, different styles, it actually, it helps us, frame our responses much better to the situation, to the person, etc. Because more that we get knowledge about all these, we're aware of ourselves. We are aware that there are so many different types. So it's a level that we graduate from to looking at how, from an independent, and we are able to manage much better in an interdependent reality where we have to live in a community. It is important for us to connect, important for us to understand and look at how social, emotional setting and community, these are all, 4 dimensions of our personality. That is very important for us to actually look at, trying to improve continuously and constantly look at a self-renewal process that you constantly keep looking at improving all these 4 dimensions of our nature, basically. And I can share some personalities. There are a lot of tests. There's 16 personality. There's DISC. There is Thomas profiling. there is Spiro B, there are so many personality tests also.
DISC is a
And,
4 level personality, right? DISC
there is the early, yeah, sometimes first it was separate. The 16 personalities and DISC at one point of time was separate, but now it is into one, which is DISC. Because earlier when I did it two. I did a DISC and I did a 16 personality. But that was number of years ago. But then after that, now I noticed that DISC itself is 16 personalities when I recently saw that thing. Then there is Thomas profiling, which is a very old psychometric instrument. A lot of people in the hiring and recruitment used to use Thomas profiling. Then there is Spiro B, which is also another very old this thing. Actually, if you get your hands on something called Pfeiffer and John, which is like a Bible for all trainers, which has it comes in volumes, very number of volumes, which has a lot of these instruments, and you can buy that. They're pretty expensive, but if you're planning to look at training as a profession throughout your life, it's a good investment basically.
How do you
So
spell
it's the whole
that?
thing. Pfeifer, Pfeiffer and Johns. I'll send the link to you. I'll send the name and the link across. It's a good investment because it has all of these instruments, etc. There's another one called Learning Style Inventory, which I found yesterday when I was doing a lot of research on this learning style. You know, the Pfeiffer and Johns will give you all the information about all these different instruments, and then it gives you that whole list, and you can refer to and use it in any of the programs. And another thing is a very nice book by Peter Senge. Have you heard of Peter Senge? Learning Organizations. These are some of very good books as trainers that we have to learn, because it's understanding organizations. So if you're going to do training for corporate and companies, you need to understand the whole environment of an organization, how the organization actually works. What are those levers in the organization that makes it function? So like I shared about the climate parameters. Now in an organization, in a business situation, the climate is very important, because the climate has to be conducive for people to perform, people to feel happy to work, and 30 to 35% of your business results, they say, is dependent on the climate or the environment that you create for your employees to work. And that's very important. And along with the climate, balanced with the climate environment you create is your leadership style. You can see the kind of leadership style that you use and your managerial style, leadership competencies that you have, and the managerial style that you use come and is the one that creates that climate that helps people to feel motivated to work, to perform. And when they're motivated and they work, and that's how you get your business results. So for an executive and a manager, typically they ask you in most organizations, they do the survey in some of their managerial programs to give them an idea of here. And that is a 360-degree survey, wherein you do your own self-assessment. Your reportees tell you what kind of a person you are, and these are all very confidential. You don't say who said what a response, you only get a summary of it. The reportees tell you how we feel by, led by you. Your peers tell you what kind of person that you are in terms of your leadership competencies, your managerial style, and the kind of environment that you create. So when you get a result as a leader, you get a 360-degree feedback from all these three dimensions. You yourself rate yourself in these things, like how you did your own self-evaluation, and you get two other dimensions that gives you a complete idea of what is the climate. Do I have enough clarity? Do my members have enough clarity on what they have to do? It gives you different perspectives of what is your environment and how people feel, and what is your dominant managerial style, which is something that you need to consider depending on the this thing of your team. You could have a very mature team who doesn't need you to micromanage. You could have people at different levels in your team who are from new journeys to very experienced. Is how do you use different styles at different things? That's why it's called situational leadership. I see that situation and I use the style accordingly. If I have somebody at a very low who just joined the organization, I can't expect him to be absolutely independent and say, I told you CH thing. I have to do a little hand holding. So it's a different style that I have to use. To a person who's mature, to somebody who's way and perhaps going to be my successor in the organization, I have to use a very different style. So there are different leadership styles, different competencies, extra, that perhaps I can share some material around this. And so you get more aware of the different things. That as a person also, what is your style? that you understand. And then when you interact with people, it also helps you understand what are the different styles that people practice and why and how, what is more beneficial, what is not. It's something that I'll share some information. I have a lot of information around that. I worked on a lot of these programs when I was part of the organization, so I can share some concepts or theories about it.
Madam, do share, because this is something which is very, very important for all of us to understand
Yes.
the learning styles as well as the leadership styles also. Please
Yes,
do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll do that. I'll do that, definitely.
Thanks a lot, Bala. Very nice presentation. Very useful,
you very much.
eye-opening.
Yeah. No, my
Thank
eyes
you
were
very
open.
much, Bala. Wonderful.
I was wondering the loss people had who didn't attend this session.
Your eyes are
absolutely.
open?
Absolutely.
So happy.
When I saw Bala Madam, the poster what is posted itself, I mean, I immediately decided that today I was at office actually, but I left early and I thought I will join this because this is such an
Oh,
interesting
wonderful.
topic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, Bala, it was more informative than even that we attended last time. So I was also
I added a
completely
few more
glued.
slides.
Yes,
I added
yes.
a few more
Thank you.
slides actually, because
Thank
after the discussion we had in the morning back, I thought perhaps to set a context, because many of them were not aware of learning styles. It's important to share what do you mean by a learning style, what are the models. So I can share that information again.
Yeah. Along with that, share this PPT also. Good.
That is content.
Intellectual property.
That is our intellectual property.
IP,
Yeah.
Intellectual property.
And definitely.
So Bala
I will
Madam,
share. Yes,
you
sir.
share only links. We'll make our presentation based on those links. We'll dig out information.
Yes.
It's a better way of learning also.
Yeah,
And,
as trainer, suddenly you get a requirement like this, somebody says that I want it. So how do you reference? So it is just practice for us to go. I refer to multiple sites. I went to multiple, I Googled and found out, and then I pulled in all these and I created this whole thing, I used the ID model. Of course, there was no TNA, but the requirement was learning styles that I wanted to teach. I created a context and I put the whole thing using the ID model and putting the whole thing in terms. Of course, we didn't have an activity, but I would have loved to do an activity in terms of this. A very beautiful exercise that we do as part of this. I was mentioning about the Belbin theory. Have you heard of Belbin theory? No. There are different people. I'll give you information about the Belbin team roles. So in a team, there are different roles that people play. And according to the Belbin questionnaire, that each one, so if you have a team, supposing you're working in an environment and you have a team, and you have different roles within a team. And the team goes through various stages of development, the norming, storming, performing, and this thing. So as you go through, there is a requirement at different stages for teams to go through or perform a particular role. So in a team, there's definitely somebody who has to be the person to get things done. There has to be somebody who thinks outside the box. So there's different roles. So when you understand the different roles, there is a questionnaire that the teams go through, and each one understands, and they compare it to the role that they have in the team. And then they see how, if I am like the learning style, if I'm a diverger and I'm supposed to be an accommodator, how do I work towards that? So that's a very, Meredith Belbin is the one who got this whole Belbin team theory, team roles it is called. It's another instrument for teams. And we normally do this whole session and then we put them through an activity for them to understand and accept the differences from different people. So when you work in a team, each one will definitely be, it's like a symphony. Symphony has multiple instruments. Each instrument plays differently. You can't expect an instrument to play the same way like the other. So how that whole sounds of different instruments and comes together to make this beautiful music is what is called teamwork. Different instruments playing the rhythm and then in their different ways, and that's how the beautiful music comes out in all orchestra or symphony. That's how teams are. So Belbin theory talks about the different roles, how you accept the differences. And we normally do an activity as part of that. I used to do this, which is called a tower building activity. Very different, and it's a wonderful thing. And in my I'm doing a course on experiential learning. It's an 8-week course every Saturday. by this person who's part of the American Experiential Learning Society, and he's running this course. And amazingly, a tower building activity that has to be done on a face-to-face program, he did it on an online program, which was, I was just thinking, how is he going to take this off? Because the whole thing of building the tower is a physical activity. But the way he tweaked it little to make it a team, and we got broken into teams, and he asked us to get us A4 size papers, and how he comes in and sees it, I'm so helpless. I have this person who has this thing who's going to demonstrate, and I'm trying to give him instructions and ideas. It's the same frustration when you go back to your role. You have somebody in the remote team struggling with a situation, and you're on the phone on a video conference and trying to tell him, boss, you have to do this. Can you understand? But still, he's a team member. And then it's also another thing is what situation he's in, how he's doing it. See, it's an amazing opportunity for you to accept the differences. See, here's a person, different culture, different situation, different problem. And you are here thinking, sometimes we think we know so much and we're trying to direct somebody, but you need to understand what situation the person is going through. It's an amazing learning experience where we were trying to direct this person to tell him, no, roll it this side, no, roll it this side, no, across, no, this, that, and that, by the time the time out. But then we said, boss, this is just do it just the way you are, doing wonderful. And he built the tower. This is amazing. As a team, it was a beautiful experience basically that we had. We should try it out sometime. So we experienced this, and maybe we can try that activity in any one of the programs. I'd be more than happy to test it out with our team.
Bala madam, do share the name of the book which you mentioned about understanding the climate of an organization.
No, it's not a book. It's actually it's a theory basically. Climate parameter, organization climate. It's again available in different links that I researched, and I put that slides together. Climate, I'll give you the whole thing. Climate, competencies, managerial styles, leadership competencies. These are all things that I will share, and I'll give you links where I researched and got material out. The very famous iceberg model is something that we all have to be familiar with. The iceberg model, if you've been in an organization, you understand how the skill and competency is the tip of the iceberg, and your personality and traits come in, and these and our behaviors, everything that we come across and our behaviors. There are a lot of things that are behind how we behave in a particular way and why we come across a particular way. So when you do the Belbin that I'll share with you in terms of the team behavior, stages of team development, etc., I can just share the basic concepts. Then I'll give you links where you can refer to more information. So when you design your own programs, you can source information from that and there.
Preferably in the group.
Absolutely, in the group. I will do that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So thank you,
Over
Bala.
to you, Kushal, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Bala, for wonderful session. And so
thank you very much.
Thank you, Bala.
Thank you, Bala.
So I request Bala to share your Facebook link so that I'll put it on the YouTube link also, so that people can follow you, your Facebook page.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm not used to so much of visibility, but I'll share it definitely.
We need to do now.
No, you don't need it. We need it.
I'll share it on my Facebook page as watch party.
Oh my God. Thank you. I'll share the link, sir. I'll share the link.
So officially, I would like to thank everyone for participating, and I want to thank Bala, who has done the wonderful job of giving an insight on how the Kolbs learning style can help us, as well as how it could help to help our own students as we are a trainer. So great sharing. So I'll just now stop the live on YouTube and